All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a few key updates for today and do a few housekeeping items before we start with our schedule. So before we get to our introductory comments, just wanted to give you a quick brief overview on how the day is going to be unfolding. So following our introductory session, we have two plenary speakers scheduled today by Dr. Christine Chambers and Dr. Noah Ivers. And following each of those plenaries, there's a quick break. And interspersed between those breaks, we do have some project updates and Q&A with the various CHILD-BRIGHT projects, which is then followed by a networking session. And then finally, we cap off the day with a poster activity. So if you will, during the introductory session, if you haven't had a chance to take a look or get the link to our landing page, we can certainly share that with you, so you can peruse the schedule. But put up for you real quick. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at our platform landing page for the day, this is primarily the way where you will be able to interact with the poster content. So if you had a chance to take a look, we have the four key poster themes, where we have affiliated posters uploaded. Each poster entry, of course, then has a poster and abstract. And if you have had a chance to take a look at the schedule, up here, we have a summary schedule of when you can expect the poster presenters to be live in their breakout rooms, but each poster also does list their available time slots. So just keep an eye on that, and then you can certainly connect with your interested presenters at that time. Also, just want to point out that there is the option for you to interact with the poster presenter asynchronously throughout the day. If you're not able to attend the poster breakout session later, and you can just hit on this join the discussion button, where you can just leave a comment or a question on any poster you are interested in. So just to make sure things run as smoothly as we can today, fingers crossed, we have no technological glitches on our end. We just ask that you mute yourself unless you are commenting or raising your hand, just to cut on any unexpected background noise. For the sections where you are presenting, we just ask that you perhaps turn your webcam off, just to help with the any additional bandwidth capacity that we can. So I think the better we can get, the better it'll work out for us. So in the session today, there's of course maybe two ways where you can interact with the speakers or the panelists, and that of course is through the chat feature, the inherent chat feature with Zoom. So feel free to just select that when it comes time for the Q&A, or when you want to provide any comments. Feel free just to select everyone, send it out, and then we can of course read it out if time permits. The other option, if you wanted to pose a direct question to any of our speakers or panelists, is just to raise your hand. So you can just find the button on your Zoom toolbar, and from there raise your hand, and we can call on you as we go through. And then of course feel free to unmute yourself, activate your webcam, and relay your question or comment that way. Before we jump into everything, I just wanted to thank our planning group, who spent the last few months putting the schedule together and getting us all set up and good to go for today. So yeah, a heartfelt thanks to everyone who was involved and in organizing and getting this all set up, and of course all of our speakers who are kind enough to join us today. So with that, I was just going to hand it over to Tanu to lead us in our land acknowledgement today.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning and good afternoon, and thank you so much for attending this virtual symposium. My name is Tinu, and I am the EDI-DI coordinator for CHILD-BRIGHT. That's in equity, diversity, inclusion, decolonization, and indigenization. So without further ado, as we gather here, physically dispersed and virtually connected, let us take a moment to reflect on the meaning of place and privilege, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we do our business and daily actions today. I acknowledge that my personal work takes place on the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, Haudenosaunee, and Huron-Wendat territory. As a network, we recognize that CHILD-BRIGHT works takes place on the many traditional Indigenous territories across Canada. Our head office is located on the traditional unceded territory of the Kanien'kehá:ka peoples, a place which has long served as a site for meeting and exchange amongst First Nations. The legacy of our colonial history continues to have ramifications on the health and well-being of people, especially children across the country. As such, we are committed to doing our part in identifying and dismantling colonialism and systemic racism throughout our pediatric healthcare systems to advance health equity for all. We understand there's so much for us to do in order to make strides towards this goal and the acknowledgement of the traditional land on which our works takes place on, and this is honestly only the first step in the much larger process. We further recognize the importance of doing our part to address these harms so we can ensure that our children with brain-based developmental disabilities, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children, receive the care and support they need to live rich and fulfilling lives. I would also like to acknowledge the ancestors that came before us and making today possible for us to participate in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanu. And with that, I'm going to hand over the podium to Annette. So feel free, Annette, for your introductory comments.
Okay, can you hear me now? Great. So hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. And really today's virtual symposium provides us with the opportunity to celebrate this moment as we pivot from our phase 1 activities, which have been focusing on knowledge generation using a patient-oriented research approach, to phase 2, where we are working with our patient partners and other knowledge users to find ways of mobilizing this new knowledge and then studying the mobilization and implementation efforts. So we are broadening our horizons here at CHILD-BRIGHT. We are conducting research with a new focus on knowledge mobilization and implementation science. We're learning more about equity, diversity, inclusion, and Indigenous health and how these concepts can integrate more authentically with the work that we're doing at CHILD-BRIGHT. We're increasing the diversity of our citizens, and we're expanding our training to extend beyond patient-oriented research to involve all these newer concepts into our training and capacity building programs. So in phase 2, we really aim to accelerate the uptake and use of the knowledge that we generated for greater impact for children with brain-based developmental disabilities and their families. And today we'll hear more about implementation science from Dr. Noah Ivers and why this is so important to CHILD-BRIGHT today. So as we move forward, our 5 programs will be very important in helping direct our efforts. We have our knowledge mobilization program, our implementation science research, our training and capacity building, which also will include Azrieli CHILD-BRIGHT Fellow, postdoctoral fellows, citizen engagement programs, and our new equity, diversity, inclusion, decolonization, indigenization programs. So these programs will be very important in directing our work, and they work quite collaboratively together towards common goals. And this afternoon, we will hear a little bit more about our 13 research projects and what they've accomplished in phase 1, and hopefully some little tidbits about where they're headed as part of phase 2. What has been key to our success is our partnerships, and I want to specifically acknowledge our funding partners who've allowed us to leverage our efforts and our funding, our new funding from CIHR, and allowing us to continue to advance our vision for brighter futures for children with brain-based disabilities and their families. We are also very grateful to CIHR for this opportunity, and therefore we are very pleased to welcome Dr. Christine Chambers, the Scientific Director of the Institute of Human Development and Child and Youth Health, here today. Dr. Chambers is a Killam Professor in the Departments of Psychology and Pediatrics at Dalhousie University and a Canada Research Chair focused in children's pain. Her research focuses on the psychological and developmental and social influences on children's pain, with a particular focus on families, on patient engagement, and on knowledge mobilization. So very much intersecting with our interests. And we will hear from her vision and her insights today, and hopefully a little bit about the Institute's strategic plan. The plan focuses on better beginnings, vibrant childhoods, and empowered youth, which I hope that she will elaborate on today, but very much aligns with the themes of research here at CHILD-BRIGHT in terms of some common areas of focus and strategies, and in particular, priority areas, which are very much aligned with the values and the needs of CHILD-BRIGHT in terms of partnerships, advancing knowledge while recognizing inequities, and providing a very nurturing and inspiring training environment for the future. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Christine Chambers, who will be speaking today on evidence to influence research that makes a difference for children, youth, and families.